Hi, I'm Laura Mize, pediatric speech-language pathologist, and this is TeachMeToTalk.com's Therapy Tip of the Week. Okay, if you were a podcast listener, you know that right now we are currently walking through the 11 skills toddlers master before words emerge. And so I'm doing a podcast show, a 1-hour show devoted to each of these 11 skills. And so today we did the very first skill on that list, this cool chart from that book, and it reacts to events in the environment. So what does that mean? That means that a child responds to any incoming sensory information. So what does that mean? And if you're a parent, that might be those might be new terms for you. So this would be what a child can see, what he can hear, what he can touch or feel, and also what he can taste. So I want to talk to you about some options for helping children learn how to respond to these events in the environment. Now, typically developing newborns who don't have visual impairments or hearing impairments or any kind of physical issue or motoric issue, meaning that their muscle tone is within normal limits, they're ready to do this on day one. But our little friends who have developmental challenges, especially our little guys who already have a diagnosis that they're affected neurologically or physically, or we know that educationally they're likely to have some issues because we know that their cognitive skills and their communicative skills are probably going to be delayed. This is where we start with therapy for them. And again, when kids have these kinds of significant developmental issues, we know that we have to provide that additional exposure or additional experiences. And again, I'm sort of giving you the brief synopsis, but for more information about helping a child with developmental issues learn to react to events in the environment, listen or watch my podcast number 386 for those ideas. In this therapy tip of the week, though, I want to talk to you about some great options for providing additional experiences or additional opportunities for children to learn how to react to events in the environment. And so let's just kind of run through a little list, and then I'm going to show you the cool things that I gathered for this. But first of all, we need things that kids can see, so things they can use their visual system. So the number one thing here is an unbreakable mirror, so that you are placing a baby or a toddler, a child who has maybe mobility issues, right in front of that mirror so that he can see himself. Other things that he can see, little mobiles with objects that hang down, pictures of faces, certainly books, even with black and white pictures or color pictures. Touch and feel books are great because we not only stimulate that visual piece, but we get that tactile piece going too. Any kind of little soft doll or stuffed animal that is going to be interesting for a child to look at. And then certainly toys with lights so that kids can, again, stimulate their little visual systems. The next thing would be the auditory system, or things that kids can hear. So toys that make noise. So any kind of little music toy or toys with rattles or bells or anything like that. We also want to think about toys that make other noises, like little books that crinkle, and I'll show you a cute one in just a minute. A rain stick would be great because it's something that the child can see the little beads fall down and certainly hear it, and that's a really interesting sound. And another thing that I like to think about in this category are recording voices, especially mom and dad's voices, so that a child can hear that. Other systems that we want to stimulate here, things that kids can taste. And when kids are in this developmental level, we certainly if you're a parent, you might be thinking about food here, but really we want to think about any object that's safe for a child to mouth and chew. And so kids at this developmental level are still processing lots of things with their mouths. And so sometimes a parent will say to me, Laura, I put those things up. I thought that even though my kid is 2 or 3, but he's still in this developmental level, they feel like that's a baby toy. And sometimes we'll say, get that back out so that a kid can still do those things. And again, a parent, it's sort of a hard call for a lot of kids, but a lot of children really still do need that oral stimulation. So talk with parents about that and help them understand if that's certainly something that a child still needs to do. And then lastly, We provide additional opportunities for children to feel or to explore with their little hands, so with touch. So any toy with texture, even like a textured blanket or a taggy toy, touch and feel books, little bendy balls, any kind of little toy that he can reach out and learn how to feel and manipulate with his hands. All right, so lots of times, especially in early intervention, when we start working with the family, our state programs don't want us to take toys in anymore, and that's okay. I'm not going to go off on that. There's not enough time for me to tell you all the reasons I think that's a bad idea. So today what we're going to do is talk about how to help families who are in the situation that they don't have a lot of toys, and we know that their child needs those opportunities. We can certainly do it with homemade items. We can certainly do it with household items. Like if we went back through that list, and you walk through a family's home and you show them the things that they already have that would be good for visual stimulation, and the things that they have that would be good for auditory stimulation, and other things that they already have. But sometimes the limitation really is resources. And so here's what I did. Yesterday I went to Walmart, which, again, was, somebody had to do it, so it was me. And so went to Walmart and thought, what would I do if I were working with a family that, again, had some limited resources, and I knew that we needed to start at the beginning, or a kid had a significant developmental issue and they didn't have very many things. What would I buy? What could I tell a parent to buy? So guys, look at what I got for about $30, which again, for some families that might still be a stretch, but $30 in the general scheme of things, when we can provide some really additional opportunities for learning, I think is a great deal. So I picked up these toys, and again, I want to show you what they are. Here's a cool little toy from, I think this is the Bright Starts line, but can you already see? Look at that, some cool lights here. So we are stimulating that auditory system, and you can hear the music. So again, I think it's a really inexpensive way to get a couple of different senses going. And remember, why do we want to do this? Because children have to learn how to react to events in the environment first, along with responding to people. I mean, those are the things that start to emerge first. And until we have a child who's really consistently doing that, he's not really developmentally going to be ready to learn how to understand what words mean, and certainly learn how to talk. So this was a great toy. I think it was about $10. This was adorable that I just got. And again, it is a really easy to activate little push toy. So it's along the lines, can I turn it off? Maybe not. But this is like a really simple to activate, sort of like Pop and Pal's toy. And again, it does not take, it doesn't take a lot of pressure to activate. So I loved it, and I thought that it would be a great choice, and again, about $10. And so when we're looking for stimulating this kind of reaction, I didn't even do anything, and it started to play. And so again, a super way to spend about $10 to get those reactions going with children in this phase. This was another really great thing that I love. Can you hear it? So it's this little, I call it a crinkle book, but kids can hear it and touch it, so we're and see it, so we're stimulating all their little senses. I think it's a great thing to do. It's got the little tags on the bottom that kids can feel. And just looking at this, I think that a lot of really crafty moms could probably make a better version of this, and there are probably some instructions on there, but if parents aren't, like on Pinterest or something, but if parents aren't into that, this was, I think, $5. And so a great way to spend $5 that we can help a child really learn how to respond and react to events in the environment. Other things that were good, I found this little vinyl book. There's a squeak toy, a little bit harder to activate. I'm not crazy that it has numbers on it, but I love the language opportunities here, really common animals that we see in lots of children's books, but anything that I'm going to see with animals, I'm going to model animal sounds with. And so we're helping kids learn how to react to language there. And so we're saying, oh, look, it's the puppy. Look at the puppy. Oh, look, woof, woof, woof. And we're really keeping this, our language, child focused and meeting a child where he is. So we are modeling sounds and words at a child's current developmental level there. So great option. And then I love links for kids who are in this developmental level. So many kids at this phase also have lots of motor issues, so giving them toys that they can realistically manipulate. So these little links are always a good purchase, and I think this little set was again about $5. So look, for $30 we have 5 or 6 different little things for children to do, and we are stimulating things that they can see and hear and even taste. Put these, especially the little vinyl book and the links, certainly can go in a child's mouth, and certainly something they can feel. So these are great examples of what we want to do for the first pre-linguistic skill to get language going in toddlers who aren't yet communicating. So I hope that you'll listen to my podcast about this series, and again, you can find it there on YouTube. It's show number 386, and if you want to get more information, you can check out my therapy manual called Let's Talk About Talking, and it walks you through all 11 of those pre-linguistic skills that toddlers or children, however old they are, whether language develops at 12 months or 18 months or 36 months or 5, these are the skills that kids have to master first. So be sure to check that out. All right, thank you so much for joining me. I'm Laura Mize, pediatric speech-language pathologist, and you have just watched TeachMeToTalk.com's Therapy Tip of the Week.